High school football fans, welcome back to PennZone. You've got sports editor Austin Hertzog here alongside high school football expert, trending news guru Brian Linder in the house. He's feeling that bushy old beard. It's not Movember yet, but it's Brian's beard tober maybe. Let's go with that. Brian, how you doing tonight, man?
Hanging in there, Austin, man. I've been watching a couple of games here on the TVs down in the command center here at the crib. I got Central Dauphin, CD East on over here, and East Pennsboro and Susquehanna Township. I got those games on. Susquehanna Township's up 21-7 on East Pennsboro, and CD East is up 21-14 on Central Dauphin. Pretty good games going so far.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, we had a wild one. I know you were watching it live where late in the first half between Central Dauphin East and Central Dauphin, we had a blocked field goal that was then returned for a touchdown. I know we have it queued up here on the video, so I know you're watching. If you can take us through it as a big swing on this.
Yeah, so it's 14-7, with like 3 seconds to go in the half. Central Dauphin lines up for the field goal. CD East blocks it. They go down in a scrum. And one of the players handed it to number 9 there, and he just took off, man. It was an incredible play. Three Central Dauphin guys had the Central Dauphin East guy who had the ball. They had him wrapped up, and like they just go into the scrum, and 9 just kind of takes it and goes, and it ends up being a touchdown. I made it 21-7 at the break, and really swung momentum CD East way, and now. Austin, you should see the scene with the fog rolling in on the field here. It's just insane. This looks like a Halloween deal. You ever watch that movie like The Mist? The Mist is
man. It is, and it seems like it's sweeping the area with that. Yeah, so on that play, it was Zach Brown on the blocked field goal, and Abu Thali returned the TD. He was the one who, and shout out to whoever gave the handoff to keep that play alive. I mean, that's heads up. To be able to, come out of the scrum with that, but also have the heads up to get it in the hands of a guy who can run to freedom. So
we don't have the live stream, but I have to show you this. This is what they're passing the ball into. You can't even see the receivers in the Central Dauphin CD East game. It's pretty incredible.
Night for the ground and pound, I guess.
I've never seen a fog game like this. And like CD East is just throwing the ball down into the fog, and you can't see anything.
Yeah, so it looks like we got a 1-score game there now. So Central Dauphin has cut one back. Yeah, it's nice and thick.
And Central Dauphin was throwing down. CD East, which is now on defense, was throwing into that fog. So I don't know, maybe that's how they ended up turning it over here. I don't know how you see that.
There's a sack on the drop back.
It's pretty cool, but I would think it makes that passing it down the field pretty hard.
It's a good ominous atmosphere. Not quite close enough to October yet, but not quite close to Halloween rather, but we're getting there.
All month is Halloween, man.
Is that? Oh, you're one of those. Oh, why doesn't that surprise me?
You already got the horror movie marathons and stuff on, man.
That does not surprise me that you would be an enthusiast.
We were talking before we come on the air. Here's an interesting little tidbit. Our guy Ramir is out covering this Susquehanna Township East Pennsboro game, which East Pennsboro now has the ball, and they're trying to run it up the middle on them, trying to get back in this. It's 21-7 against Susquehanna Township. But Ramir says James Franklin landed his helicopter there. We know he started the night out in Altoona, where Harrisburg's beaten Altoona. I think last we heard was 26-0. And Harrisburg has Messiah Mickens, who's obviously a commit to Penn State at running back, and then Kevin Brown, who's out hurt, is a Penn State commit. Maybe a couple other kids who Penn State might want to look at too. But they landed at Susquehanna Township, and Austin, you asked me, well, who are they there for? It's got to be Lex Cyrus. We knew that they really liked Lex Cyrus. He's a South Carolina commit. With Franklin popping in, we think that would tell us that they haven't given up on him. So as signing day goes, Penn State still looks like Penn State's still following him and checking in on him. And showing up tonight in the helicopter.
Yeah, it is interesting that even when somebody makes that commitment, that it's not entirely a done deal until pen is to paper. So still, like you say, still maybe trying to land and keep Lex in state.
Yeah.
So that was definitely interesting. And hey, I always wished I had a helicopter. How cool is that?
Well,
Jumping between two games.
I think we're paying for that, right? For him to zip around and recruit these kids.
That's a fair point, Brian. Let's
So it's technically your helicopter too.
that's right. It's our helicopter, brother.
Uh-oh. We got an East Pennsboro just took one to the house. I think that might have been Aaron Angelo. And a little swing pass. He broke it off, took it to the house. And with an extra point, they're going to cut it to 21-14 against Susquehanna Township with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Really interesting game there. Susquehanna Township, we think, we just talked about it on the PA High School Football Report podcast. We think they're a team that, still could maybe make some noise in districts, but they've had a couple games where they kind of played down a little bit. They lost to West Perry, who was losing tonight pretty significantly to Big Spring. And I don't know what's going on there because West Perry was rolling in the beginning of the year. They beat Susquehanna Township. And, they've lost a couple in a row now. They lost to Middletown, which played Susquehanna tough. So this is a really interesting game. Oh, the extra point was no good, but we have a flag down. So we'll see there.
Yeah, a couple things to unpack there, Brian. You started with Aaron Angelo, who has been really outstanding this year on both ends of the ball. He's a guy who pops up every single week, whether it be offensively or with a slew of tackles, interceptions. I mean, he's a name that's constantly jumped out to me. So he's really shouldering the load for East Pennsboro. I think as you talk about that Big Spring West Perry result, I think we also, a guy who probably hasn't gotten enough notoriety on the show here is the man who is now the Mid-Penn leading rusher, Grant Hall.
Yeah.
He's at the top of the list. I mean, he entered tonight with 986 rushing yards on the season, which overtook Brad Hockenberry from West Perry, who's apparently been dinged up the last few weeks, and I think that's affected West Perry's ceiling. But yeah, Grant Hall is not a name that we've mentioned much or at all so far in the weeks up on the show, but he's certainly meriting mention here as the season goes, and now as he continues to have great games.
Big Spring's had a rough season. They've had some seasons where they've been a little bit better than they have been historically over the last couple years. But he is having a good year. He's been good the last couple years actually. He's a really versatile guy too. He can catch. He'll play defense if they need him to and stuff like that. So he's a good ball player also.
Yeah, where else are we at? What else do we got cooking here? In the Mid-Penn, yeah, Big Spring's now up 30-7. Got a tight one between Upper Dauphin and Camp Hill. We've got that listed as 22-21, Upper Dauphin leading. Chambersburg, 28, Carlisle, 13.
79 yards in the first half of that game for Upper Dauphin. So go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off there.
No, all good. Harrisburg up handily on Altoona. We jumped over to that game here.
Altoona coming off a 7-point loss last week to Bishop McDevitt. They played them really tough, and Harrisburg took the long trip. We usually have the Harrisburg guys on here on a Friday night, but they are a long way from home and just laying the smack down on Altoona tonight.
Other Mid-Penn games, Line Mountain 27, Middletown 7. Redland leading Hershey 20-13. That's an interesting one.
That's unexpected. That is unexpected. It's been a really tough couple of years for Redland. Hershey's been playing pretty darn well. Mark Painter's done a good job with him the last 2 years, probably exceeding expectations. And now you have this. So,
and an update on that one, Brian. Only 1:32 to play. So that's after Hershey was stopped at 4th and goal by Redland to preserve that lead. So Redland ball with 1:32 left, trying to see out a big win over Hershey, who I believe has 4 or 5 wins. So that'd be one of the more notable results of the night, certainly. Elsewhere, Mifflin County 20, Waynesboro 14. Juniata 27-0 over Newport. Lower Dauphin has been handling Palmyra. The last we saw on that was 44-0. This one's a little out of date, I believe, but Trinity was leading Boiling Springs 21-13 at the half. We've got a final in Shippensburg, 35-7 over Gettysburg.
You know, I'll say the Boiling Springs Trinity game a little bit closer, and I thought it would be there at the half with the last score we had there. Yeah, a little surprising. What was the last result you had there?
That was the final. Shippensburg defeating Gettysburg.
Gettysburg's a little frustrating to me. They have a good quarterback, Brady Heiser, have a good running back, Preston Burnett. But you know, they don't always get the, you know, compete as much as you think they might with some of the guys they have. And they obviously have some other holes, but they have a couple guys who can get it done. So it's been a rough year for them. Fish McDevitt's up 27-0 on Kerma Valley. You said that right. I know Stone Saunders, I think, threw another. He ran for a touchdown earlier tonight. I know that.
And McDevitt's on the doorstop as well. They just took a timeout, but they have the ball at the 2, so they're about to punch another one in to really assert themselves against Cumberland Valley, who I guess I would have imagined that was going to be a tighter game. So good on McDevitt, but maybe you'd hope for a little bit tougher from Cumberland Valley there.
Yeah, well, it's starting. I mean, Cumberland Valley has one of the bigger school systems in the area. They have a good coach.
Yeah.
Oswald, I think he's a good coach. You know, they had a lot of guys last year that they lost who were skill guys. You know, but again, they have one of the bigger school districts. So you think they would be able to replace them a little bit better, but looking like it's going to be a little bit of a rough season for them. They were a great story last year, but it's kind of going the wrong direction this year. Penn Hills is losing to Pine Richland statewide. That's kind of notable. Obviously, Penn Hills coming off a win over Aliquippa. I probably would have picked Pine Richland in that one, but the McDowell guys who, you know, not normally a Central PA type score is McDowell. Last score we had, that's 30-13 over Cathedral Prep. That's a pretty good game, you know, to look at on the statewide tip there as well.
McDowell does she do it? Producer Megan, my gosh,
has Blaze Myers
queuing that one up, Art. My gosh,
what do we got here?
She queued up Penn Hills, Pine Richland for you.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Gosh,
so what
Ryan,
do we got?
Like asking ye shall receive. Producer Megan on her A game tonight.
It's 21-21 now, and looks like Pine Richland is down in the red zone here.
Still a third quarter there, end of 3.
Yeah. So 21 all, Pine Richland and Penn Hills going out west here. And like I said, Pine Richland's probably who I would have picked. Penn Hills lost to Susquehanna Township earlier this year, but they did beat Aliquippa. But obviously we got a good game going here out west.
I got my eyes right now on the big rivalry game in my former stomping grounds, the Pioneer Athletic Conference. Perkiomen Valley and Springford is the rivalry. I even contributed to a documentary on the rivalry a couple years ago. And as we know, Springford without injured quarterback Matt Zollers, who had that horrifying injury with his ankle a few weeks back. Perkiomen Valley is asserting their dominance on Springford tonight. They just the stream that we have up on the screen is a little behind, but that is a 28-0 game now in favor of Perk Valley. So
you know, Springford started running the ball more, and they have a running back named Jamal Lewis who's going for over 200 the last couple of weeks, I believe. He's really been racking up numbers. I'll tell you, here's an interesting one I wanted to bring up. We're going to be doing some big stuff on this team and this guy here in the next week or two, Austin. So I'm going to surprise you a little bit here. We're going to be doing some big stuff. But Coatesville's beating Westchester Henderson 35-13. Coatesville is coached by Matt Ortega, and Matt will be the first minority coach in Big 33 history next year. We did
Great
that
to hear.
story. It had been 66 years and then 67 years of Big 33 classics where Pennsylvania had never had a minority coach, never had a black or brown coach. And Matt Ortega is going to be the first. So we're going to do some big stuff on him. Great guy. I've been texting him a little bit this week. And about time, because it's not just 67 years, Austin. I went back, I dug up, I actually sent the Big 33 a good portion. They had a good portion of their coaches they were missing. They didn't have for certain years. I went through all the microfilm as I worked on that story and saw that, and I sent them that. But, there were probably 20 years, Austin, or 25 years where we played East-West in the Big 33. So you had two coaches getting chosen from Pennsylvania. So really, instead of 0 for 67 on minority coaches, it was like 0 for 97. And not knocking any of the coaches who got it, but you can't tell me there wasn't a minority coach in the state over 67 years that didn't deserve a shot. And now I think we've got that going a little bit.
No, it's great. Well, and Ortega has been so elite for so long at Coatesville. I think back to, I mean, he's had a lot of good teams and great star players. I do think back to those years where his son Ricky, who ended up at Villanova, was the quarterback for multiple years. He ended his high school career with what would have been a state record for total touchdowns, 179. He threw for over 10,000 yards. I mean, Ricky was ultra elite, and they had a lot of top end talent at that time. So those were certainly fun Coatesville teams in the Southeast. That was all orchestrated by Ortega. So he's it's good to see Big Three getting it right. And it's also great to see that that's an ultra deserving guy is the one to have his name planted in as the first. So
we have some other guys
good on
here. We have some other guys here in this area who I think should be considered too eventually. Andrew Irby, obviously still high, fantastic resume. Cal Everett is a guy you should probably be talking about there. Who I think should eventually be considered for these positions. It's good to see. It's we can end the over, and maybe it'll start to balance out a little bit more with who's deserving.
Yeah,
That's
exactly history right.
Here, Austin. A little bit of history, my man.
I love it.
Let me hit the sipping on pre-workout tonight, Austin.
Give him that pickleball fuel, brother. Got my eyes here on Mechanicsburg. This was versus Northern. It was a really tight game throughout, but Mechanicsburg has done a nice job. Done a nice job pulling away here.
This
who do we have in there?
This Central Dolphin, I think Central Dolphin just scored a touchdown. They did. So they're going to have a chance to tie it here against I hope we're shooting that game. Are we shooting that game?
We are not, but we might be able to have eyes on it.
Evan will take some photos. But man, if we'd had like Sean Simmers out there on that, it'd probably look insane. Don't you think, Megan? Our producer Megan, she knows.
Yeah, no, you're right. It would be insane. I'm checking to see who's out there.
So it just thinned out a little bit after they scored. So we got the history. We got a heck of a game going with CD East and Central Dauphin. Susquehanna Township for you guys who were just coming in, and East Penn are having a heck of a game. Did he miss the extra point?
We have Harvey Levine out of the game. Harvey's great.
Love
He's
it.
one of our stringers. Sean was shooting Susquehanna Township, East Pennsboro. Maybe he got James Franklin.
There we go, Brian.
You know what I'm hearing, Megan, for you guys who are tuning in too. I'm sitting here and I'm down in the basement and I'm hearing something and just cracked my door and Williams Grove Speedway is going.
Yes, no, I was hearing them downstairs before I came up here.
For you people who like sprint car racing, I live not far from the track, and Austin, I don't know if you've ever lived close to a track. It kind of sounds like a beehive or something.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's really comforting. I really like it.
I used to live about 2 blocks from Daytona International Speedway. That was kind of insane.
Were they running stuff all the time at Daytona?
A lot of the times, they stay pretty busy out there.
Okay.
Daytona was wild. I know we're getting off high school football, but things would happen in Daytona that would just be like I remember one day we were just sitting in my apartment as we watched this game, and I look on Twitter and I'm like, hey, I look at my wife and I say, hey, you want to meet Shaq? And she was like, what? I was like, he is literally at the gas station on the corner by our apartment. He was doing a promo for a Shaq. He used to have like Shaq soda.
Okay.
And we went and there was Shaq standing there. A gigantic human being. I've been to Shaq's house.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And
it's amazing.
I would imagine. Well, and what he had 11 kids or something like that. Yeah. So I would think he has to have a pretty sizable house.
The UFC held a press conference in his house. And
what? How random.
Well, we're way down the Orlando Solar Bears hockey team was in the Amway Center for a game when they were supposed to have their deal. So Shaq was a big UFC fan. He was tight with Dana White. So they actually had Shaq's gym at his house. It was amazing. It was great. I have photos of me interviewing Dana White in Shaq's gym. So I didn't take them. I'm not that kind. I'm not a.
No, yeah.
Or Mark. It was like an AP photo or something.
That's a pretty random set of circumstances there. Shaq's house, Dana White.
This job is an adventure.
Can be.
I've always loved that, man. There's so many stories. Look at this now. What do we got? 21-20. Central Dauphin missed the extra point. There's 7 minutes to go. CD East having a historic season. 6-0 now, Austin. CD
yeah.
East looking to go 7-0 against their rival. They got Bishop McDevitt and Harrisburg coming up, so they need to win this game. Stay undefeated going into those, because you figure if they split Bishop McDevitt and Harrisburg, they're going to be doing pretty good. If they beat them both, look out. But they've had a really great season. They've never been 6-0, let alone 7-0. And now they're just trying to grind this thing out. Maybe get another score. That missed extra point's going to loom large. And of course, they had that amazing block we talked about. There's Leon Parson running the rock. Was that Leon? That wasn't Leon Parson there. That was number 1. So that wasn't Parson. Parson's 8. He's coming off. Not Parsons. We've said this before. Parson. Looking down here, too, looks like East Pennsboro has the ball back. Daryl Everett making a play, I believe, for them. He's a pretty good player. So Susquehanna Township scored again, got some separation in that one, 28-14, 10-10 to go in the fourth quarter. So it looks like Hannah's going to get a good win for them. They needed to get this, but I don't know. East Pennsboro's out near midfield, so that one's not really over yet, but they're more of a run-based offense. So, I say that, and then their quarterback is actually they just ran a double reverse pass and got a flag on Susquehanna Township. I love high school football.
Double reverse, baby.
It was crazy. I say they're more of a run-based offense, but their quarterback, I think, has put up some good numbers the last 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll see. I guess they're not done yet. Back to this fog game we have going here, folks. Austin, I watched Central Dauphin make a run not too long ago to a state championship. They beat a quarterback down in Downingtown, a guy named Will Howard.
I know that name.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, they come out first possession. Will Howard threw like a 75-yard touchdown pass, just a beautiful ball. And look at what these guys are playing in.
Yeah, looking back over the reporting from Evan Wheaton, it was the extra point was blocked.
Yeah.
So that's what gives us the separation in that game. Well, not only that, but of course the item that we started the show with, which was the blocked field goal turned touchdown in favor of CD East. So special teams going their way tonight and really may ultimately settle the game for them.
Will Howard dropped a dime on Central Dauphin back then, and I said, man, there's no way they're going to beat them. But, they had a scrappy team. They had some big linemen, Bryce Tolman, Chad Layton, and good running back Timmy Smith, and Max Mosey was their quarterback. He's at Holy Cross, I think, playing receiver now. And they just wouldn't go away. And they ended up going to state championship that year. It's been a little bit of a rough slate for Central Dauphin since then. But that fog I don't think it even translates on the computer screens like it does, like even on the television screen, but it is insane. Up the middle, number 1 for CD East, and that's an incredible run. Incredible run down to about the 1 for CD East. That kid, I don't know how he kept his balance, kept his footing, broke a couple tackles, and they're looking to maybe put this game away.
Yeah, that player is junior Avery Romaine, number 1 for CD East. He's been big moment for him there. I mean,
here's what's
how many running backs does CD East have, Brian?
What's incredible about them. Jared Porter hasn't played since like the second week of the season. Jared Porter's a Dell commit, and I had him on our preseason All-State team. He is amazing. I don't know. We need to check and see if he's going to come back. That's a goal for this week. I'm going to text Lance Dean for us, because if he does, it's going to be super exciting for them. But Leon Parson replaces him. Leon Parson is really good. Breaks Chase Evans' school record last week, 315 yards. And now I know Leon has been in this game, but we got Avery Romaine in here running the rock.
He's clear. Yeah, I mean, that would lead you to think that Parsons out for presumably some type of injury.
So folks are tuning in. 3 minutes left, basically. That's why CD East, they're up. CD East is up 21-20. It's about 3 minutes left here, 3:06. And so it's going to be 3:06 when they snap this ball. I'm a little bit ahead of you on the TV. They're both looking to kind of get this touchdown to take the lead.
Give it.
And run as much time off the clock as they can.
No, they didn't give it. Oh, wait.
No, 2nd and 1.
Wait. Oh, geez. I thought it looks like the umpire at the end was showing touchdown, but he did not.
My TV is a little bit ahead of the YouTube.
Okay.
They get stopped here again.
Do they really? Oh my gosh.
But it's kind of good because, like, all right. I mean, if you score, but now it's 4th and 1. So now you got a problem. Because if you don't score, Central Dauphin is going to get the ball with 3 timeouts and a minute and a half to go. Now, granted, they're going to have to go 99 yards, and they don't have the best kind of passing offense.
Yeah. I mean, that's always my thing is like, look, Patrick Mahomes isn't on the other side of the field here. Like, to me, and at the high school level, there's really no such thing as like you scored too early kind of thing. Like, just get the points.
So
get in the end zone.
147 CD East takes a timeout. They are up 21-20, and 4th and 1.
Is there an argument to be made that they should have let them score? No, because of the 1 point difference. Because then, well,
Lex Cyrus just took one to the house. I don't know if it was a punt return or an interception. I think it may have been a punt return.
Mr. Franklin's on the sideline there doing a little shimmy. Lex, come on, come to Happy Valley.
I think they're saying he stepped out. Yeah, I think they're saying he stepped out around midfield. That was close. And that would have really put the game away. Susquehanna Township's up 28-14 in that one. So, all right, we're coming out of the timeout for the people who are kind of following along. We'll get back to some statewide stuff in a minute, but we're watching the last minute of this big mid-pen Commonwealth matchup. Rival Central Dolphins, CD East. CD East is 6-0, looking to go 7-0. Still got McDevitt and Harrisburg on the schedule. It's 4th down and 1 with 1:47 left, and they line up, and things are going to get really interesting because Central Dauphin just stopped them. So Central Dauphin, look, if they lose this game, they just stop CD East 4 plays at the 1.
That's unreal.
And so now with 1:41 to go, CD East leads 21-20. Central Dauphin has 3 timeouts. They got to go 99 yards. They're not a great throwing team. So let's see what they got up their sleeve here.
I'm looking up some names on the Central Dauphin defense just to give them a shout out. We published our defensive leaders through 6 weeks earlier this week, and a couple of the names to know on the Central Dauphin defense. Isaac Hodgson entered the night with 47 tackles. Mark Lebo entered with 45, and Andrew Kurtz entered with 43. So those guys mainstays on the Central Dauphin defense.
We get a pass completion on 1st down, and we're down across the 20, right?
Yeah.
Boy, we're out to about the 20-yard line, it looks like, right? Now we're at the 15.
I keep going back though, Brian. Was there an argument to be made that they should have let them score with, what was it, 1:45 left?
No, that would have been about at the 3-minute mark, actually. So.
Oh, was it that? Okay.
Yeah.
So even more so then.
But here's what I would argue.
There's an argument to be made that.
But here's why I think you don't. You got 3 timeouts. But they're not a great throwing team. Like this the last pass there was kind of ugly, which the first one was pretty good. But you got 3 timeouts, so you don't have to throw it. You got some options here. You can get some stuff across the middle. Really, that first pass was kind of across the middle, moved them out of the end zone there. Now we got a little jet sweep.
And I guess for me, it depends on how confident in my kicking game I am, where that changes the game at the high school level, whether do you need to get within the 23-yard line to have confidence in your kicker to be able to execute a late game field goal, or is it touchdown or bust?
And historically, they've had a good kicking game. I remember back to guys like Aaron Stauffer, who went to Lafayette just a couple years ago. I think he was on that state title team. Tino went to the state championship. They've had a good kicking program there, but they've had 2 blocked in this game. They've had a field goal and an extra point blocked in this game. So.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about confidence from the CD East special teams. Then to have had 2 blocked kicks in a single game, they'll be smelling blood for number 3. So that's the other part too that I wonder from a Central Dauphin standpoint. I wouldn't think that any special teamer's feeling that great about trying to execute a game-winning kick here.
You want the touchdown, but if you can get down there and you only have 5-6 seconds left, you at least give the kicker the shot. So I think that's why with the 3 timeouts, I think that's why you you try to stop them. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if they run out of time or what happens
Yeah.
here. What are we on? We on 1st and 10 right now for Central Dauphin.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, a quick one that we touched on as a bit of a surprise earlier. Final, Redland 20, Hershey 13. Brady Seiler had 35 carries for 182 yards and 3 TDs.
That's a huge win. I mean, shout out to Redland. That's a huge win for them. Those kids have been through a lot. You know, they've had some lean years.
Hey, not just that. That is an 0-6 Redland team defeating a 5-1 Hershey. So that's their first win of the year. And talk about a big one. That knocking off the third place team in the Keystone. Man,
yeah,
it's a great result for them.
Our Hershey team that's played above it says plays well. You know, so that's a good win for them. I'm looking here. So what do we got? We got a rush on the passer. Did we get a flag here? For you guys that don't know, CD East currently leads 21-20 over Central Dauphin. Central Dauphin is CD East is 6-0, trying to go 7-0. There's 41 seconds to go in this game. So where's Zach Brown out on the field? I think if I'm I might just send Zach Brown to go get whoever's got the ball. Like, I'm just going to tell him to go get the quarterback here. He's like the most athletic guy on the field.
Well, if you're calling your shot again like you did last week with the Lex Cyrus game-winning TD, then maybe good things are going to happen for Mr. Brown.
I got to make sure he's even out there. I'm trying to check it's hard sometimes TV versus being there in public, being there in person. Hannah's on the move, 3:45 to go, up 28-14, so they're going to beat East Pennsboro. Checking statewide as we watch this, Danville is beating Mount Carmel 22-19. Really good game. Both of those teams have beaten Southern Columbia this year. So that's a really good game. Over in 3A. Hollidaysburg 27, Jersey Shore 25. Think about that.
Another final, Brian, from one of the games that we covered tonight, Eric Epler, reporting that Upper Dauphin defeats Camp Hill 30-21. Running back Caleb Snyder, 44 carries for 337, 4 TDs, and 2 2-point conversions.
Big night. Camp Hill's a reeling, man. They were district champs, but they've been banged up and they're kind of reeling. So now I think CD East, we're seeing they're just kind of going after them. Kind of wreaking havoc in the backfield. We said we're just not the best passing attack. Throws that one up and airmailed it. So I think this is the right thing to do. Looks like they're kind of putting pressure on Gavin Kirkpatrick, and saying, okay, let's see you both deal with the pressure and make the throw down the field.
Yeah.
And that's going to run it to 3rd and 24 with 32 seconds left. So now it's starting to look bleak for Central Dauphin.
Yeah. Brian, how aren't you going to sell it, though, that you're a few seconds ahead? You could be coming across here like you're the omnipotent force of, I'm feeling like a lofted fly pattern down the right. And
look, that was a penalty, right?
Yeah, we got a – oh, no, timeout. No, he signaled timeout. Timeout defense.
So 3rd and 24, you can't throw the ball real well down the field. They've been bringing some heat here the last few downs. What are you calling? The old invisible post used to run out and wreck. I'd send 10 guys out and you trips right and then push a receiver onto the field behind the referee on the post,
Yes.
and count the ball.
Love that.
See if they catch it.
We ran that. Coaching Powder Puff, I recall running that, as a matter of fact.
I call it the invisible post. Got to try something here.
Yeah.
Because I think Central Dauphin East is going to bring the heat again. Gavin Kirkpatrick.
It's like I think we just caught eyes on Evan Wheaton down there on the sideline.
Taking photos and videos. You guys can go check him out too. We had a game earlier on tonight. We streamed on PennLive. Lower Dauphin beat up on Palmyra. Chris PennZone.
You know what, Brian? The games are lasting long tonight. Actually, you know what? I think we're getting to homecoming season. So the half times were longer. I'm just looking at the clock. I'm like, gosh, we had a bunch of games done last week. And
homecoming, and we had a few games being streamed or broadcast by different people.
We got a stoppage there.
Can't get a snap off.
Did we get a delay of game? No. Yeah. No, it was a false start. Now what? We're looking at 3rd and 29.
Yeah.
Things are looking pretty bleak here for the Rams.
Yeah. Hook and lateral. You got to call it hook and lateral. Got to try something.
Yeah, you absolutely got to try something.
That ain't going to work. You'll see what I'm talking about right here. We threw it to nobody, out of bounds. So
there was some softness in the middle of the field there that with a little more time. But hey, to your point, you were talking about bringing some pressure to make him uncomfortable. And I think that's what you saw there, where he had to kind of move up in the pocket in a way that I don't think Kirkpatrick really wanted to. So I think
4th and 29. I might have called a timeout there. And he's intercepted. I'm ahead of you guys. I mean, he had to throw it up. CD East is going to win this game. 21-20. They're celebrating. They're going to be.
Hey, I'll say this: he stepped up in the pocket nicely and threw the ball with a level of confidence there that you got to try to make something happen. And at least he stepped up and fired the ball. They're not all going to go your way, especially down 4th and 29. But I at least like that he executed
Yeah, I think you brought up
give him a chance.
I think you brought up a good point, though. The one thing, and I get there's 20-something seconds left, but you had 2 timeouts left. I think when you get in that 3rd and 24, whatever they were in, I think you got to be looking probably for 10, 12 yards maybe. Something across the middle maybe just to shorten it up. Then you take the timeout and then you kind of throw it up. And if you get something, then whatever.
Well, I mean, it's the high school level. Look, if you complete a 10-yard ball, maybe you pick up a 6-8 yard yak, and it's like now you're looking at a much more manageable. You feel like you're not as pressed into your own zone. You just got to give yourself a chance.
I also wonder, and I think the world of Coach Glenn McNamee, but 4th and 29, you got 2 timeouts. Do you take a timeout there just to try to get a play, something set up, just to get everybody on the same page? In case you do, get it, or, and try to give yourself the best shot. So CD East wins this one. They kneel on it.
I was going to say, let's put a bow on that one. 21-20. The difference.
7-0. CD East Panthers. First time in school history. You see here, Susquehanna Township's closing out East Pennsboro. 35-21. So I believe that was Aaron Angelo.
Yeah, he's been fantastic this year. Saw some breakaway speed there out of him, to be sure.
So good night of games so far. We talked about some history. Matt Ortega, the Big 33, first minority coach. As we watch Susquehanna Township close out here, you know who the leading passer in the state is right now, according to Max Preps, Austin?
Fire away.
Matt Bodner, Notre Dame Green.
That's right.
2,169 yards. Brady Collins is your leading rusher. Clearfield, 1,452 yards.
Well, Bodner's a name who you brought to the forefront from week 1 on. He topped your state list from week 1. I think he had about 660 yards in week 1 and a whole slew of TDs. So yeah, he had a crazy first week and has been continuing to ride the wave. So hey, I gotta give a shout out to Brian Linder's State Player of the Week vote. Guys, he had 231 top performers from this past weekend that we voted on for State Player of the Year or Player of the Week. Guys, nobody's doing it like Mr. Linder over here is in terms of bringing together those top standout performances. So be sure to check that out every week. I as I was going through the list earlier this week of seeing what Brian put together, I kept scrolling down and I was like, this is a ton of names. Now I put it into a spreadsheet to see how many really there were. 231.
We're getting a lot of, we've talked about this before. We're getting more coaches who are now getting their stats in. It's a little bit better than it has been in past years. Still not what it should be, but we're getting, we're probably getting 15 or 20, defensive leaders, now on there too, which before was almost primarily offense. But I gotta say this again, the thing that's kind of shocked me, Austin, this year is if you looked at that list, there's always like 25 or 30 quarterbacks who a lot of them are going over like 250 yards of offense. And the ones who make that list who aren't usually are having like 4 or 5 touchdowns, or having some kind of defensive output. But we have some quarterbacks in the state who are putting up some like crazy games every Friday night. So,
yeah,
that's been fun. But yeah, we scan the state, and if you don't see your kid on there, make sure your coach is reporting this stuff can send it to me on Twitter at Sports by B Linder, or just to get into Max Preps or wherever they report it. If you're in the Mid-Penn, make sure you get it to PennLive. If you're in Lancaster, get it to your outlets there. I scanned the whole state. A lot of journalists. We're still blessed in Pennsylvania. It's not nearly what it used to be in terms of staff, but you have a lot of guys out there who are still going out on Friday nights and covering these kids, Austin.
Brian, you referenced this one earlier, Hollidaysburg and Jersey Shore. Hollidaysburg wins at 27-25 after a fumble at the 2-yard line from Jersey Shore. They were about to punch it in to take the win, fumble there, and so Hollidaysburg recovers, wins 27-25. So that's a pretty notable one.
Yeah, it's a surprise. We know if Danville closed out Mount Carmel.
Let's have a look.
Harrisburg beat Altoona 33-0. Cal, Troy Coke. Some of you guys send us some stats from out there, so we can get
Danville defeated Mount Carmel 22-19. Red Tornadoes 5-game winning streak ends, and Bo Sheptock with all 3 Danville TDs.
I bet you he had double-digit tackles too. Watch. He's a guy who does it both ways.
Love it.
So,
I think you may have just stated this one. Mechanicsburg 42, Northern 14. Eli Ryder finished 17 for 25 for 255 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Josh Smith, who's been doing it all year, he had 39 all-purpose yards and 2 TDs. That is according to Tyree Smith, who was on the scene for our group at PennLive. That moves Mechanicsburg to 7-0.
We're seeing on the scoreboard Susquehanna 23, Halifax 6. That's a little bit of a surprise. Halifax played Camp Hill really close last week. I think that's Susquehanna's first win, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a big one for them. We got Lyon Mountain 55-21 over Middletown. Trinity 41-13 over Boiling Spring. So they They separated like we thought they would. It'd be interesting to see if Christian Joy played tonight. Their outstanding running back who was out last week. Jacob Ness ran for a whole bunch of yards for them. So bringing up the scoreboard.
My gosh. I mean, I brought this up in the pre-show. I mean, seriously, folks, we're going to be lost without her next weekend. Producer Megan is headed to, I don't know where, but some magical land of something. Here she is, bringing you the mid-pen scores, breaking it all down here.
You know, Megan goes to she either goes to like England, Alabama, or like these Comic Cons. She like, you know, Megan, you write comics, right?
Yeah, that's my side job as I do comics. But this time I'm going to my niece's wedding, so I'm going to Arkansas. She doesn't even live there. She's just getting married in Arkansas.
Well, you got to know that's a cardinal sin to have a wedding during football season for any guy.
I'm not the one who planned the wedding.
Hey, our player statewide was Rob Meyer Borders, a defensive lineman for Dover. He had 17 tackles in a 14-12 win over York Suburban last week. He won the fan vote, our first defensive player of the week, and from Dover. I think that's the first player we've had to win it from Dover in the 3 years we've been doing it. So
I have a couple cousins who went to Dover, as a matter of fact.
I got to tell you, you know, the small schools have really stepped up for their kids this year. McCaskey, week 1 with Alice Ramos. Week 2 was Greensburg-Salem's Kai Brunot. Week 3 was Blackhawks' Braden McCarthy. Week 4 was Trinity's Christian Joy. Week 5 was Newport's Trevin Arnold. And now Rob Meyer Borders from Dover in week 6. And we'll see who comes out of the night. But small, you know, those aren't really the biggest schools around the state, you know, stepping up for the kids. They're all getting these nice shirts, man, popping the threads, walking down the hallway. I'm player of the week, you know.
Love it. Yeah, no, I absolutely. I've been so impressed with that it hasn't been about always the biggest school or biggest name. It's people are rallying around their nominee and getting them over the finish line. So it's been cool to see, and not just in individual pockets of the state. It's been in different areas, whether we got a Dover in a York County, McCaskey, Lancaster County. What'd you say? Green Pond? I mean, God, it's cool to see. Final between Juniata and Newport, 33-6. Juniata continues its winning ways.
So we're wrapping up. Most of the games are wrapped up. Our guys are out at the field. Maybe we'll get some guys dropping in here shortly. Had a few throughout the past few weeks. You know, it's going to be tough to beat last week. Lex Cyrus and Stone Saunders and
yeah, we had a really exciting show last week with all the great guests. Like you said, Stone Saunders coming off of his record-setting performance for career passing touchdowns. Lex Cyrus, fresh off of his game-winning team. Hey, look who we got.
Hey,
Evan Wheaton's here.
You guys can see me. I'm trying to do it horizontal. We're also in like a cloud right now, so it's hard to see.
We got you.
At Landis Field. CD East got away with a 21-20 win over Central Dauphin. The game was full of momentum swings. And Zach Brown, heck of a performance from him. 2 sacks, blocked field goal that actually ended up getting returned for a touchdown. It was a total team effort, though, in a game dominated by defense. So I got some guys here with me.
Who do we got, guys?
Samaj and Zach Brown as well to talk about the win.
Fantastic.
I know Zach. Who do we got? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear him. Tell everybody who you guys are.
Central Dauphin East football. Zach Brown, linebacker. Samaj Jallo, quarterback.
Yeah. Guys, this was a heck of a game. I watched it on TV, man. Coming down, Zach, that last series, man, when they had to go 99 yards, what were you guys saying on defense, and what was the talk on defense when you guys had to stop them there?
It was just us 3 linemen, we knew we had to get back there, had to contain. We had a spy, made sure the spy did his job, played his part, but we couldn't rely on that. Our line had to get back there as fast as possible. We had to get back there, double team or not. We know it's coming, and then our back end, we just had to play smart and do our job. Simple. We said love y'all every single play down there. We gotta move. Bad play, good play. We gotta keep moving. It don't matter.
Demaj, you're the quarterback, man. They stopped you guys on the 1 yard line 4 plays in a row. You're up 21-20. You come off the field. How confident were you in the D, and what were you telling those guys, man?
And I was fully confident in my defense. I felt like that was on me. I let the team down for not scoring because they put the ball in my hands for 4 plays in a row, and I did not score. But I had full confidence in my defense. I knew they was going to get a stop. I knew it. We have the best defense in the Mid-Penn Conference.
You guys are now 7-0, first time in school history. It's been a historic year for you guys. You got some tough ones coming up, right? McDevitt's coming up. Harrisburg's coming up. What's the mentality right now? What's the feeling around this team? What do you guys have to do to finish this thing strong?
You want to talk
Just
first?
want to know. Want to know every day, like we just told Dan. I met Mr. here. Just go want to know every single day.
Want to know, and we know a challenge is coming up. We ain't never ducked challenges ever. East is known for losing. We changed that whole thing ever since Coach Lins came over here. We got to change it. And our line's probably not the biggest line, not the fastest line, but we love each other so much that we're gonna push through it by any means possible.
How fun is this?
I gotta ask about the block kick, Zach. That was the first thing we queued up when we started the show because what a turning point that was. What did you see, and take us through that play? I guess as you block the kick, and then also as it stays alive into the point where you guys end up turning it into a TD.
I felt like by any means possible, since we gave that we got that one more chance, I had to go out and shine. You know, my team, they all counted on me. They said, I'm a down block, I'm gonna take that guy, and then you got 2 people, you just gotta beat them, and they put trust in me. I went full speed, head down, got through the hole, and then blocked it. Simple. And then Darian Cofield picked it up, and as a not selfish player, he picked it up and handed it to his teammate with a lateral and went to the touchdown.
You guys
amazing, man. Awesome teamwork in that moment. That's fantastic.
You guys are focused on 1-0. But like you said, you've guys had some struggles the last year or two. How fun has this season been, man? Like when you look right now, how do you put it in perspective? How fun has this been?
Go ahead.
Right now?
He said, how fun has it been?
I feel like it's been fun, but this is not the goal. 7-0 was never the goal. Our goal is to go 1-0 every single week until we get the Mid-Penn, win the Mid-Penn, win the districts, and win the state championship. That's our end goal. So it has been fun here and there, but we still have our eyes on the prize, and that's our end goal.
And we still need to get better. Every team's getting better every single week. And we know that's going to come up, especially with the teams that's coming up. We call it the gauntlet, but I feel like we're the gauntlet. We're the top of it. So we got to push, and we got to keep going 100%. And 1-0 is not just for games. That's not what we just said. It's 1-0 every practice day. 1-0 every day in school. It's every single day.
Who's next week?
Sorry, State College.
State College. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one, right? You guys ready for the next step? What are you guys expecting from State College?
We're expecting most likely sprint out. We saw that in the past. In the last 10 years, they've been running that. Film studies gonna help us with a lot. They lost their running back. He went to Harrisburg. Number 10's at running back now. We just been doing a bunch of scouting, and we're ready to go.
Hey, listen to this guy. He knows.
I love it, man.
Personnel. Zach Brown. That's why you're one of the best linebackers in the Mid-Penn. I've written a lot about you. My health kept me getting out. And Demaj, I've watched a lot of your stuff too, man. You guys keep it up, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having
Fantastic, guys. Thanks for coming on.
That was a heck of a ball game.
Has done such a tremendous job with this program. And Stun Saunders wasn't the only one breaking records last week. Leon Parson obviously broke Chase Edmonds' single game rushing yardage mark with 315 yards and 4 TDs. So, CD East is red hot. So, obviously, a very fun schedule moving forward, but absolutely fire with these guys.
Hey, Evan, we do need to ask, did Leon go down with injury? There was late in the game where it looked like Romaine was getting touches. Did we see that right, that Parson went out?
Yeah, looked like it. tough to see in the fog, but yeah, it looked like he had come out at one point. But they were
Okay.
able to still move the ball and still kind of move the chains with him. And that's a credit to the offensive line, especially in a game like this. But yeah, that was definitely one that was definitely one that happened.
Gotcha. Yeah, just one to watch as we go forward. So, hey man, thanks so much for getting us a great set of guests. Appreciate it. Glad you got a good game tonight, and
Yeah,
we'll talk to you soon.
talk to you soon.
All right, Brian. Not too shabby. CD East 7-0. You said that right? First time ever.
What? So yeah, first time ever.
First time ever. That's fantastic. What else we got here?
Megan says
It's
we got the
running.
last couple of scores coming in from the
Yeah. That's the first I saw. The Line Mountain 55, Middletown 21. That's a new one. Big Spring continued. Saw that out. I saw Grant Hall had the mid-pen leading rusher for Big Spring, had 4 TDs in that win over West Perry. What are you cooking up there, Mr. Linder?
I'm just checking on some stuff, man.
All right.
You know, trying to see
Mike.
anybody on here. Seeing where all our guys are. They're still playing football. By the way, there's 3.1 seconds left. Hannah has the ball. They're going to win the game, but East Pennsboro come back and made it a 35-28 game.
Wow.
Wrapped until the end. They you know, I've always stated, I'm like, I don't blow up coaches too much, but John Denniston does a good job over there. I feel like I always say that every week. I don't blow up coaches too much, and then I say this so-and-so coach does a good job. He really does, though. I mean, East Pennsboro, I don't think they've had the top athletes in the area by any means. No knock on them because they've had some solid teams the last couple of years. I think they do well coming together as a group and kind of playing to their strengths, and that's kind of a mark of a good coach. You know, and I don't feel like they lose to a lot of teams that they should beat. That's another one. We get a coach who loses to, get a team that loses to teams that should beat fairly consistently. Okay, makes me wonder. Grinding my gears. There's the scoreboard. I think we got the wrong side on Palmyra though, Megan. So lower it off 44. Palmyra 0. There you go. Look, we got live corrections going on. Boom, boom. Big upset of the night. We got 2 of them. We got Red in the mid-pen. We got Redland beating Hershey 20-13. I think that's Redland's first win of the year. Big win for them. You know, it's a program that's been struggling a little bit. Susquehanna, I think, gets his first win of the year. 23-6 over Halifax. And, one I don't think we saw coming was Big Spring 30, West Perry 13. West Perry started out the year so good, and now they're banged up. Austin, don't know where to go. They got a great coach, too, in Bob Bowden. But don't know what's going on right now with the Mustangs. Austin battling a nasty case of COVID live on air. He didn't hear that.
Sorry, Brian. I'm having some technical difficulties here.
I diagnosed you with COVID while you were away, in case you were wondering.
Doesn't surprise me.
So
I had non-COVID illness starting last week, and it continues to linger. I did test, though, and no COVID, so. But now I'm shedding a tear here.
I take $70,000 in antibodies a week. Well, a month. It's a month. But think about that.
I was going to say, you make me feel pretty healthy then.
The imported immune system. Immunoglobulin, however you say it. What else we got? What we got cooking for tonight? We got anybody watching any big news around the state? Anything going on? Games are wrapping up. Where are our guys? Let's get some guys on the horn. Here, I got one for you. Don't mind Austin, guys. He's
Well, apparently in the West Perry Big Spring game, Grant Hall ran for 255 yards and 4 touchdowns on 21 carries.
Grant Hall. As Austin plugged him earlier in the show.
Yeah, on West Perry's side, Brad Hockenberry rushed 14 times for 91 yards and caught 7 passes for 47 yards and a touchdown. That was just filed to PennLive.
Brad Hockenberry. So they had Brad Hockenberry going and they lost over at West Perry. So that's tough. That's tough. See if I can get it's a guy on here, man.
Darius Rush, who was just cut loose by the Steelers, signed to the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. Not high school football. I'm just trying to fill space.
Killed it downtime.
Yeah. Do you want me to queue up more Married with Children?
No. We might have to get a dump button though. I'm trying to get some folks on here. We are wrapping up, folks. We usually cut off at 10:30. It's been a fun night of football. Austin may or may not have died on air, Megan. He may be gone. I don't know. He was coughing and then he disappeared. So if you see us advertising for a sports editor next week, we like Austin, but you know what they say. When you're gone, they got to start advertising for your job. So if you see us advertising for a sports editor next week, you'll know what happened with him.
Well, here's Tyrese. I'm going to throw him in.
Tyrese.
Yes.
Man, cut on the light. You're not the Undertaker.
Nah, I gotta fix the light in the car, but
Man. So look, hey, you were out at Mechanicsburg Northern game tonight.
yes.
Looks like Eli Ryder put on a show. I know it's kind of close early. What did you see out there tonight?
Yeah, so in the first quarter it was pretty much all Mechanicsburg. I think in four plays to start the game, they drove down the field for like 30 yards, just passing through the air. And then next thing you know, Ryder hit Brandon Menner for a 14-yard off a bubble screen, up 7-0. They ended up scoring one down in the first quarter. And it looked like it was going to be all Mechanicsburg for a second. And then Northern just had crazy momentum in the second quarter. I think they had a scramble from Grady Bauman on one play, which made it 14-7. And then next thing you know, Ryder threw an interception. Mechanicsburg's first play back in the second quarter. Next thing it was a tied ball game. But the rest of the way, it was pretty much Mechanicsburg. They exploded for 21 points in the second half to come out with a 42-14 win. Eli Ryder had well over 250 yards through the air, 4 overall touchdowns, and Josh Smith, 139 all-purpose yards, and had 2 touchdowns each on the ground and in the air. But it's pretty much a runaway game for Mechanicsburg in the second half, and then now it's 7-0. So they're riding pretty hot through midseason.
Smith and Josh Smith, the big wide receiver, he's what, 6'2", 6'3", Tyrese?
Yeah, just about 6'2".
And Eli Ryder, I think Josh Smith obviously has got some college offers. I think he's a good, college prospect. Probably one of the more underrated passing duos,
Definitely.
Probably in the state, right? I mean, what do you think about them? You've seen them a couple times now, right?
Right, yeah. This is my second week in a row of seeing Mechanicsburg, but the thing about them is that I think they're so pretty slept on as the season has gone on, but just that duo alone, they've created a lot of problems for a lot of teams. But even within that new Mid-Penn Keystone, they still have Hershey and Shippensburg to go, even to end out the regular season. So it could get interesting as a lot of those teams are very run heavy and athletes all over the field. But if that duo can do it, they can possibly end up 10-0 heading into playoffs. So
it's been a great year for Mechanicsburg. Tyrese, we appreciate you tuning in, man.
Thank
Get
you.
that story in, man.
For sure.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Tyrese.
Yep.
Be safe out there. Tyrese is my guy, man. He was an intern for us 2 years, and does a really nice job for us. Great young man. I think he works over at the naval depot here. I think it's Navy depot here. So, Austin, are you okay?
I'm soldiering through, man. Not only was I, voice was turning into an issue, then the computer decided to be an issue. I think I overloaded it with high school football streams, quite honestly. So we were in gridlock. We had to do a force quit on the Chrome app. We're back, baby. My voice is back. My computer's back. We're soldiering through to the finish line here.
I think this is the time of the night where we kind of plug everything and say, look, we got I don't know, 5 or 6 guys out in the field tonight. Well, obviously be looking for, if you haven't been seeing reports from your team, we cover as many games as we can, but certainly encourage your coach and scorekeeper to get stats in. That helps us not only get the report on your team, but also get your players in our nightly leader list, our Friday night stars, things of that nature. As you see Megan scrolling now, and we got the state scoreboards up and stuff. Austin will shortly probably be posting the statewide scoreboard from the Associated Press, so you'll be able to go to PennLive, see all of the scores from around the state there. Like I said, we'll have those local games, some big local games we covered tonight, a really fun night of football, and we got some interesting upsets too. Hopefully we get all of that. But stars, then we'll have Player of the Week polls coming up on Sunday and Monday morning with the statewide one. So we'll be carrying you through. We go through all weekend looking at, kind of statewide and mid-Penn football, and it starts all over again in Austin. We are now, after tomorrow, we'll have 7 weeks behind us, and my God, 3 more weeks for the regular season. And I kind of start getting sad, man, especially when I was out in the field, because for a lot of guys, a lot of young men, they're winding down in the last 3 weeks of football that they'll ever play. And then they go on and they grow up and they move into the real world and stuff like that. And then you're going to have some amazing storylines written too over the next, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Still, as we make a run to Cumberland Valley and the state championships. So,
yeah, you're right. It really is. You don't know what you got till it's gone. And it's your point, man. It goes so fast. You hurry up in the preseason to just get the games going, and then you kind of get the flow of the routine, and the next thing you know, it's just you got a week or 2 left, and then it's gone. That's why it's always of course, it's the dream to have a long postseason run, but it's also even more significant just to extend that season, to continue that experience. Because with a long postseason run, you can almost practically double the length of your season. So it's so special for multiple reasons that way. So
there'll be a lot of stories we'll tell, over the next 3 weeks as we close out the regular season, and then, as we get into the playoffs, and then we'll have, end of the year stuff, all stars and stuff like that, and our all state team. But not just high school football. If you're a football fan, man, we got Penn State football. We got a whole bunch of guys, Johnny McGonigal and Max Ralph and Bob Flounders covering those guys, and probably the best Penn State photographer there is, Joe Hermit, out there with that. And
yep, dealing with a noon start against UCLA tomorrow. They'll be at Southern Cal.
That's a new one.
Next weekend. Yeah, it is. They got the cross-country trip. I got the credential approvals today for the whole gang, so we're going to be out there in full force out at USC. I'm a little bit jealous of that trip that they're going on to the Coliseum. I was out there a couple years ago covering the MLS championship across the street from the Coliseum, and I have a really good friend who works for USC, and I kind of thought it'd be nice to catch a game at the Coliseum. So that should be a good one next weekend from the bunch. And then, of course, we've got the Steelers coverage from Nick Faribault, who's been really killing it on our Steelers coverage as we re-enter the the pro football market, and it's been a huge success. And credit to Nick in the early going here as we're back in Pittsburgh from a PennLive sports standpoint. So exciting times ahead for us. So recapping, or rather looking ahead to what we have here for the rest of the night. We had game coverage from Bishop McDevitt at Cumberland Valley, Central Dauphin at CD East, as we just talked to Evan Wheaton from Upper Dauphin at Camp Hill. Eric Epler was on the scene there. Ramir Vaughn was at Susquehanna Township, East Pennsboro, and Tyree Smith, who we just spoke to, he was at Northern at Mechanicsburg. We'll have recaps on those as well as whatever other games we receive. I know we already have a write-up from the Big Spring West Perry game. So that's results are flowing in, pouring in. So we're happy to write up everything we get. So the night is young. Look out for all the coverage coming the rest of the night as well as into the morning. Brian, anything else?
I think I might have done pretty well in the picks and predictions. So,
Ooh.
the group text will be lighting up if I did. So,
Yes, it will. All right, man. Well, hey, another great night of PennZone. Appreciate you jumping on. As always, it's always good to track the results. Shout out to producer Megan. Fantastic performance from her. Thank you for the Mid-Penn scoreboard. Thank you for your work. We will miss you terribly next week.
I will be kind and prepare a scoreboard for you, but you are going to have to fill it out. By the way, here's Ramir.
Oh, we got one more. Ramir.
Hey, guys.
Ramir, after we got on the podcast, our Pennsylvania High School Football Report podcast, where Ramir announced that he's going to get a new ride to Austin.
Yes.
If after you picked Hannah to go do damage, if they'd have lost tonight, I'd have been talking a little small, right?
That makes sense, and I wouldn't even have blamed you.
Hey, I watched that game, and so you could tell us what you saw, but I got to say props to East Pennsboro because I thought they were put away there in the fourth, and they scrapped back and looked like they made it a one-score game, right? What was the final, and what did you see out there?
Final was 35-28, and they got a late consolation score at the end with like 3 seconds left remaining on the clock. I do think that the score wasn't as close as the game was, especially in the second half, because East Pennsboro couldn't get nothing going on offense. It seemed like all the perimeter throws and runs that they like to do got shut down, so it was very hard for them to muster up any kind of offense in the second half, really after the first drive. But they kind of had some trouble. Susquehanna kind of had some trouble tackling in the first half, so they were able to still sustain some offense, but that's not sustainable from East Pennsboro's point of view. So it was a very good game to watch. I actually enjoyed my time sitting here watching it because it was a good showing from both teams that had a little bit of like sloppy play, which I think is a good game to watch and enjoy because it keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Good win for Hannah tonight. Who stood out for you from them?
Rakai Seville. He couldn't be tackled, especially on runs up the middle, which is something that they game plan for. He couldn't be stopped. It took 2, 3, 4 defenders to try to tackle him. I know he had 100+ yards. I have to go back and calculate the stats, but I believe he had 2 touchdowns. He might have had 3. Don't quote me. For sure he had 2, but he was untackleable today. They couldn't tackle him. He was running hard, and he made the entire difference.
Austin cut out on us.
Oh, come on.
I don't know where he went.
I was kind and I turned him off.
Oh, okay.
Austin, you muted yourself. Hang on.
We're having late technical. We're getting ready to dip out of here, man.
I know the voice is on the struggle bus. You know how we like our meetings here in advance. So I think the week of everything has got me verklempt.
How about East Pennsboro? I feel like the Susquehanna Township definitely had, they got the college guys, like when I say college guys, Lex Cyrus. You said James Franklin was there, right?
Yes, he was. He stayed for like maybe 15 minutes.
So he was there to see Lex Cyrus, who's a South Carolina commit. Penn State wants him. But they got Lex. They got Jarrett Kern, who I think is getting up in college. Probably a couple other guys. I don't know if East Pennsboro has that same level of guys. But looked to me early on, J.J. Gossard was running pretty hard between the tackles for him.
Yes.
Was that Aaron Angelo that had the nice touchdown catch?
Yes, it was beautiful. Like the cut he made to get up the field.
Yeah, tell us about who looked good for them tonight.
Aaron Angelo, like exactly how you said, him and JJ Gossard, and specifically JJ Gossard on both sides of the ball. He had the interception at the end of the first half. Plus, he made a ton of tackles and a ton of stuff. It seemed like he was the only one who was trying to tackle Seville today. But him and Aaron Angelo, they both looked very good running the football and after the catch, especially like you said, Angelo had a 77-yard touchdown catch and run. It was beautiful. He got in, he got up out of there. And he won the foot race to the end zone.
Well, there you go. Scrappy performance from East Pennsboro. I don't think anything to be ashamed of. It was a quality win at the same time for Susquehanna Township. They needed to win that. They won a couple tough ones now in Middletown and them. We know they have the talent. Ramir talked about this a good bit, Austin, on the podcast. Go back and check that out. They got the guys to get it done. They just got to put it all together. And I feel like, this was, when you win these hard ones, if you can win the hard ones, and find a little bit of improvement along the way, then maybe you're building towards something. So, not bad to get a win over a gritty kind of East Pennsboro team because those guys are tough.
Yes.
Ramir,
Good stuff.
When we getting on the sticks?
I can't say whenever you want because I'm kind of busy tomorrow. Sunday I'm busy. Monday we can do Monday.
All right,
Brian. I think he's ducking you.
Monday Night Football.
Hold on, wait.
Brian, he's ducking you.
That's good. Who need the rematch? I won.
I know he does.
I had a bad night, man. Everybody has an off night. I fired
Brian against Ramir. It's all gonna be bad nights.
I fired my offensive coordinator.
Boom. You don't want the smoke.
I'm not gonna lose to him.
You and your Kansas. He's gonna stomp you with the Temple Owls.
You know what? I might do that.
I dare you.
Oh, there we go.
I dare you.
I dare you. All right, boys, let's wrap this up. I got no voice up. Ramir, thanks for jumping on, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Statewide scoreboard list. All right, Ramir, be safe out there, man.
That's right. All right, Brian. Hey, man, we were wrapping it up. Good to have Ramir jump in there late. So I think we got in our plugs. Another good night with you. I appreciate you jumping in with us. Megan.
PennLive.com.
Your thoughts?
I will be kind and leave you a scoreboard for next week, but you're going to have to fill it out.
I can do that. I
All right.
appreciate your assistance always. So enjoy that wedding in Arkansas. Everyone, thanks so much for joining us.